Welcome to Drinks in the Library, the only library where drinks aren't just allowed, they are required. I'm your librarian host, Gigi Howard, and each episode I'll be interviewing a guest about a much-loved book that we will be pairing with a drink for you to enjoy along with us or consider for your next book club meetup. As always, stay curious and support your local library. Hello, Libration Nation. Shark Heart by Emily Habeck is a surreal love story about newlyweds Ren and Lewis, whose marriage is upended when Lewis is diagnosed with a rare condition that will slowly turn him into a great white shark. As they confront grief, change, and the limits of love, this novel uses magical realism to explore what it means to stay connected when life becomes unrecognizable. My guest this week is Ashley Hall. A nonprofit leader by day, Ashley spends her free time volunteering, chasing down Richmond's best hikes and restaurants with her friends, family, and pup, and adventuring across the globe. A recovering English major, she'll take any excuse to turn a good read into a great conversation. Also, she brought us our drink this week. It is the Metamorphosis Cocktail. I absolutely loved it. It changes colors. So cool. I had never heard of this before. That was a lot of fun. Last but not least, you'll hear more about in the episode. Ashley is the executive director of Chesterfield's Communities in Schools. And coming up, they are having an adult spelling bee. I have tickets in the show notes. I am going to be one of the celebrity spellers. And so you should definitely come if you want to see me go out on the first round. Not a great speller. They've assured me they're going to make it easy for me, but we'll see. It's going to be a lot of fun. I really hope you come out to that on May 2nd and raise some money for a great cause. All right, without further ado, here's this week's episode. Yeah, so Ashley, I am really excited to talk to you about this because we were just yapping before we started recording and you were like, I explained to you I haven't read it yet.
Oh my gosh. That just means you have the best thing coming in front of you.
Okay, so we're talking about Shark Heart by Emily Habeck, right?
Yep.
Habeck. So when did you pick this up?
So I read this, I think the year that she put it out, 2023. So it's a pretty, relatively new book. And I'm not going to lie, I think you probably are not supposed to say this to a librarian, but I think I originally picked it up because the cover is so beautiful.
I love that.
You're not supposed to do that, but it is a beautiful, beautiful cover, and it really intrigued me. And the title, Shark Heart, A Love Story, just kind of pulled me in. And yeah, I was really excited to jump into it.
Okay.
2023.
Yeah. So when you find books, do you open up and you read the synopsis? Do you just start? What do you?
Sometimes. I get very pulled in by covers. Okay. So sometimes I will just buy a book and go with it from there. And I don't think anyone recommended this to me. So it wasn't one that I'd kind of read a lot about or heard from people.
Yeah.
I sort of picked it up a little bit cold, but it delivered. It really delivered.
All right. So talking about the story a little bit, like Shark Heart, what is this about?
What is this about? So I feel like I need to give the disclaimer that somebody is going to hear me say what this is, and they're going to turn off the podcast and be like, this book is not for me. Okay. So I'm here to say, don't listen to that. It is for you. It is for everyone listening right now. Yeah. Okay. So the idea behind this is that it starts with this couple, and Lewis and Ren, and it's the start of their sort of love story. And then very quickly upon getting married, and this isn't giving anything away because you find this out probably on the back cover, but very quickly they find out that he has this genetic mutation and he is turning into a great white shark. As one does.
Yeah.
As one does. So this is the moment where people are about to turn it off, but don't. So the whole premise is that in this world of the book, that is a normal illness that people can have, is genetically mutating into some kind of animal.
Okay.
But really, it is this broader look at grief and relationships and love and sort of what it means to have a meaningful life. And it's just, you could almost replace all of the stuff about that with any kind of terminal illness.
Yeah.
And it would be the same story, but you would lose some of the kind of like absurd humor that also comes out that balances it.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a crazy, very creative, innovative premise, but it is worth it, I promise.
Okay. So how do they take the news? Lewis, you're going to be a shark.
Lewis, you're going to be a shark. So that's the weird thing about this book is that it is not written as if it is this fantastical thing. That is a normal thing that happens in this world.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of takes them back is not everybody gets these. So he gets one and not all people do.
Yeah.
And becoming a shark is worse than some of the other things because it's quicker.
Uh-huh.
It's obviously you're an aggressive animal versus a not aggressive animal that you could turn into. So they do not take it well.
Okay.
They're not excited about it, I will say. But it is this really incredible look at how their love sort of works through this.
Mm-hmm.
And watching her sort of care for him, it's really beautiful.
Okay. So comparing it like a little bit to a terminal illness kind of thing, moment. And I'm really kind of very curious about the details. Okay, so he's going to be a shark.
Yeah.
How does he immediately, they have to keep the bath ready at all times?
So you're totally right. So it's kind of this transition process.
Okay.
Like he goes to the doctor originally because he starts getting like itchy skin and he starts like noticing that his vision is kind of getting worse, but better at night and these little things. And that's when he originally goes to the doctor. Okay. So it is this sort of transition process.
Yeah.
But you're right. At one point, they actually buy a above ground pool for their backyard and fill it with salt so that he can stay there longer.
Okay.
So parts of that process, of course, are really sad, but there's also really funny, hysterical things that happen. Okay, so I should say Lewis. Okay, I should set up who the two of them are. So Lewis is an actor and a playwright, very artistic. He's very big feelings, emotional artist. Yeah. And Ren is very practical and very guarded. And you find out that a lot of that is kind of safety measures she's put around herself because of her childhood. But they have this just fantastic love, but they're very, very different. So at one point in the book, they are at an event where there is another playwright or a director there who directed a play that he did not think went well. And he hits him with his shark's tail. So like in the midst of these really sad things, there's these absolutely ridiculous things. Like he walks around at one point and one of his fins is developed, but not the other. So there's some fingers hanging off of one side of his fin.
Yeah.
So it's the imagery of it is hysterical. It is so funny, even when it's sad.
Yeah. Well, and I sometimes think, and like I said, I haven't read the book, so stop me if you're like, you've totally got this wrong. But I sometimes think, when you go through a tragedy or go through sadness, like people think you shouldn't laugh or make light. But I don't know. I had someone I was very close to at the very end start to have, senile moments and forgetting things. And it was very sad and it was very hard. But there was one time I was like, what are you talking about? She just started saying all this stuff. And I was just like, this is funny. Yeah. This is funny to me in this moment 100%. As someone that's been crying a lot recently.
100%. You have to find those moments of joy.
Yeah.
And they do that a lot. I think that's a big theme in the book is kind of finding that, I don't know, ability to love your life. Okay. I really just want to read this whole book too.
Okay, perfect. I'm here for that.
What if the whole podcast was just me reading lines that I've underlined in the book?
We could do worse.
Right? Okay. So there's a line where he says, Lewis began to accept that this was the life he wanted to be living simply because it was the only life he had. So there's a lot of sort of accepting what it is and all of a sudden deciding, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
So the book is written in these different parts. So one of the later parts is actually when he's a shark in the ocean and he befriends this other shark who is also mutated, who was like a teenage girl when she mutated.
Okay.
So them trying to find commonalities. I mean, it's like a 35-year-old man and like a 14-year-old girl who are both sharks, but like them trying to find like things to talk about in common and what they think. I mean, it's so funny. Like she goes on these tangents about like American Girl dolls and he is talking about losing his wife. I mean, they are in different places, but it just creates these both heartwarming and hysterical moments.
And talking a little bit about like the construct of the metamorphosis, right? And you said like it's not uncommon for this to happen. So what are some of the other things that people can turn into?
Okay, I don't want to give away all of them.
Okay.
One of them, so there are very few characters in this book. It's a very small little world that you are in. But Wren at one point befriends a woman that they don't name. They call her the tiny pregnant woman.
Okay.
And she is pregnant with twins that she finds out are falcons.
Okay.
As you can imagine, that does not end well. But that it sets up sort of all of these other ways that she's processing what's happening with her husband and how that woman is dealing with it. And they sort of find ways that they support each other in that. There's a couple others that they talk about, but it really is hyper-focused on kind of what's going on between the two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you like better, Wren or Lewis?
I mean, I started to answer and then kind of different in different moments of the book. Actually, my favorite character. Ooh, okay. So at the beginning, you hear a lot about Wren's mom, and you kind of don't like her, and you don't know why, but you don't like her.
Yeah.
You can just, Wren's been really hurt. She has a lot of guards up because of her mom. In the work that I do, I work with a lot of kids who have really hard home lives, so your mind goes to a lot of really terrible things.
Right.
The second part of the book is all about Wren's mom, Angela, and you find out sort of her whole story, and I love her so much. Okay. So I won't say more than that.
Okay,
but you kind of get this whole different perspective.
So Angela is going into it. Spoil it too much? You think?
A little bit. She's the way that Wren is in direct opposition to kind of everything from her mom, and she had to do that to kind of protect herself.
Trauma response. Yeah. So I guess my vibe question, like, what's the vibe of this book? I think is gonna be interesting. What do you think?
What do you think, based on what I've said?
What is it? What is the? It's not experimental fiction. There's a type of fiction where they set up constructs like this to kind of explore like a deeper. Something a little bit deeper, but it's also it's not realistic. So
like mystical realism.
Yeah, mystical realism. It's just so. Is it quirky?
It is quirky.
Okay.
It is quirky. One of the things I really love about this is the specificity of the characters. They go in so much into little details about them, and a lot of them are very quirky things, but not weird. But also not cliched. I don't know about you, but nothing makes me want to put down a book more than when a guy is describing a girl and it's like, she wouldn't stop biting her lower lip.
Oh.
Shut up. We've heard that 5,000 times, right? Come up with something new.
Yeah.
So I love it that everything in here feels so specific to them and unique, but also is super universal.
Right.
You know, it makes you kind of see yourself in all these moments, or you know somebody like that, but yet the way every character is described and then the actions that they take are so specific. But it is quirky because the things they do are very quirky.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. What are some of the specifics that you would love to pull us in with?
Okay. Actually, page 1. Oh, can I just read you? This is page 1. Okay. Yeah. So one thing I should say too, the format of this is really interesting because across the book, you get sort of 3 ways that it's written. Sometimes it's prose, very lyrical, beautiful prose. Sometimes it's in flashback style, and sometimes it's written as a play.
Okay. Oh.
Yep.
Oh, because Lewis is a playwright.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's not really him writing it, just whatever's happening is like that.
Okay.
So on page 1, they're talking about sort of them falling in love and what that looks like. And he says, my failure as an artist led me to you. With your bird wrists, twig fingers, you with your efficient days. Making lists, researching, you who can make a spreadsheet about almost anything. You make everything better than when you found it, even me. Right?
Yeah.
She's always into these very organized lists, and the way he talks about how she is with that, and he describes her looks and just everything is so specific. You just get such a picture of her. But that was a really good question about who I like more between the two of them because it oscillates. Sometimes Lewis can feel he's such a dreamer. You can feel a little bit like, dude, get with it. Come back to reality. And sometimes with her, you're like, loosen up a little bit, girl. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know? But I think when you see them together, they have this great merging. Because of those two personalities.
Well, and that's I think in a lot of great relationships, right? What is your partner like?
Opposite of me.
Okay.
Right? I mean, you're right. Like you find these people that you kind of mesh with.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I always say like my husband and I, we're very similar in a lot of ways. I think we're very similar in like our interests. If we were saying who's the, I mean, we're very laid back at home, but who's the sillier one? It's me, 100%.
But you can't have both of you being like that all the time,
Right,
So that
exactly.
balance is important.
Yeah, and I think there's an ebb and flow sometimes to a relationship. Do you think so?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Having to step in when the other person kind of has to step back. Yeah.
And talking a little bit, I mean, so how does Ren begin to process what's happening as she's losing him, right?
Yeah. And like right after they got married.
Right.
Like right after, which is
Yeah.
so sad. Well, the tiny pregnant woman is kind of part of her processing a little bit, like being able to have this outside person. I don't know that she really gets to process it. You know, she's in, I mean, you mentioned being there at the end with someone or people have you lost, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times you're in action mode,
Right.
right? You're kind of like checking through what is the thing I can control right now because I can't control what's happening. She goes into that. You know, she's coming up with, he has to eat so much as a shark. So she's like going to the deli counter and buying the entire deli counter of like shrimp and fish and like everything to bring home. And she's setting up their house so that he can be there and learning everything she can about it and, you know, crossing off all the to-dos because she can control that.
Yeah.
And, you know, then obviously at some point he can't be there anymore. And she kind of spirals for a while and kind of doesn't have direction. And, you know, I think she finally has to sort of confront, now I've lost him. And that's kind of when she processes it, is sort of afterwards.
Right.
And then something big happens that
you have to read the book.
You have to read the book. Something big happens. It's pretty amazing.
Okay.
That makes her sort of understand, maybe not understand because it was an awful thing, but helps her see that loving him was not a loss or, you know, it was worth it to have the relationship, even if it was short and it ended how it did.
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave that teaser because you have to read this. I feel like we need a part 2 short segue when you're like, okay, I did read it.
Okay.
Now I have these.
I know. I have done that before and that's why I sometimes say it's good if I haven't read the book, especially if we're trying not to do spoilers.
Yep.
Because a few months ago, I had one of my good friends who's been on the podcast twice now wanted me to read this book. So I read it and I finished it. And then I was like, we cannot talk about this book without talking the ending. So that was the only time I've ever talked through beginning to end.
Like, just turn this off if you still want to read it.
That's what I did. Yeah, because it was just so crazy. So yes, we'll have to do part 2 once I've finished it a little bit.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, have you ever heard that quote, why love if losing hurts so much? I have no answers left, only the life I have lived. The pain now is part of the happiness. Then, sorry, I'm going to start crying.
That's like the perfect quote. That should be written on the inside cover. I don't know what Emily Habeck wrote for her front. Let's see.
Okay.
She wrote, yeah, I think it's to her parents, which is really lovely. But she should have put that quote in there. Because that kind of, yeah. Let's write her, Emily. We have an edition for your next printing of this.
Yes. I don't know how I have that quote memorized. I had
That's beautiful.
I had like a little book.
Do you know who said it?
No, I'd have to look it up. But I mean, I got it from somewhere.
Yeah.
I think it was like a famous actor from like the 60s or something. If I'm getting my memory vibes.
Your memory vibes. I feel good about them. I feel really good about them.
Yeah, but I think about that all the time of just, sorry. And I get very emotional. If you've never seen me cry, you haven't known me for like more than a half a day. But anyway, yeah, I think about that all the time. It's like grief is a lot of time. It's like you still have the love, but you don't have anywhere to put it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. That's what this story is making me feel.
There's a lot of that. And I think that big moment that I'm talking about, she figures out where to put her grief.
Oh.
Into a really good thing.
Okay. All right. And okay, so I want to ask a little bit about the practicalities of the book. Does their insurance cost?
I don't know that we should dig into that because it does not really get.
It doesn't say like Anthem covers.
Okay,
so this diagnosis.
I know, wouldn't that be funny? Okay, so they do talk about going to the doctor. They talk about getting your diagnosis, and they actually have these. I don't know what you would call them or what they call them. They basically, depending on the animal that it is, there's like a facility set up for the different stages.
Okay.
So when he first goes to the doctor, there's a facility that's like Ocean 1, Ocean 2, Ocean 3, Ocean 4.
Okay.
And as you get to different stages, you have to be kept in those facilities. And it is government regulated.
Okay.
So at one point we find out about a different character who also had a transformation, a metamorphosis. And they said, if you don't send this animal back to where it's supposed to be, because they don't turn into an animal that's meant to be where it is.
Right.
It's not like they all turn into like pigeons because they live in New York, right? Like they could turn into anything.
Yeah.
So they basically say, if you don't send this animal back to where it would be able to be free in the wild and do this thing, we will execute it. Like the government will. So there is a little bit where they kind of get into, I would say, not the practicality of that. They talk a lot, I mean, almost like a terminal illness too. Like when he gets his diagnosis, they're like, we're going to be prescribing these kind of things to help with your symptoms. And we think that we're monitoring it every week. And they have this inside joke that every week they go for his checkup. If he hasn't progressed farther in the mutation, they go out to Whataburger. And it's like a fun night because they're like, yay, it's not any worse. Let's go party.
Yeah.
And a night when it's worse, it's not a burger night and it's depressing and sad, right?
Yeah.
So they do deal a little bit with that, but definitely not into the who's paying for all of these problems. And,
Yeah. I think the word I was trying to think of I think it's speculative fiction is the title of that exact genre. It was sort of like, yeah, you kind of have this idea. I mean, you have to wonder, like, how did she come up with this idea?
How did she come up with this? I know. It is so incredibly original.
Yeah.
It's so original.
Absolutely, yeah.
I know. I want to ask her.
Emily,
are you listening? Call in now.
I know. I have had someone, it was a live podcast I did a while ago, and the author listened to the episode and called the guest at their work.
No way.
Yes. Now, the guest was also a bookseller that had mentioned selling like hundreds and hundreds of this author's books. So I think
Well, I have not done that, but I have bought one copy.
and I will buy another one.
To so many people. So I'm basically a bookseller.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that's like hand selling. That's what we do in the library a lot.
Yes.
It'll be like, just put it right in their hands. So that's you.
Yeah, I'm a hand seller.
Yes. I wanted to ask a little bit. So do you read speculative fiction often?
Well, I'm now wondering if I do or don't, because that's a new term for me.
Okay.
I do think that's a good term for this based on how you're describing it. This book is exactly up my alley and not in my alley at all, which I would say if I heard the premise of like people turning into sharks, I would not buy it and read it.
Okay.
I'm not really into sci-fi. I'm not really into, fantasy. That's not my bag. I am into very beautifully written fiction.
Okay.
And I underline when I really love something in a book. And I will tell you that I have underlined probably a third of this book.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. So it is in my lane for how beautifully it's written. And the premise is so interesting and intriguing, but it's not sort of that vibe of something that is not based in reality is not really what I like. But I think because they treat it so much like a normal thing, you never feel like you're in this like fantasy world.
Right.
Like nothing else feels magical, fantastical,
Yeah.
It does feel very like unique.
Yeah.
But not, magical, so to speak,
Yeah. Well, it's using the construct to get to the heart of the emotions.
Exactly.
Of the story. Yeah. Do we know much about Emily?
Well,
not yet.
Not much. I did a little digging. So this is her first book, which is pretty incredible.
Kudos to her.
Because I think it's been very well received. And I really hope she writes more. I was hoping that she would, or that I would find something. But I do think this is kind of interesting. So she has a theater background. So I think, that probably informed Lewis and his character a little bit. She also, and it does not say what all she did here, but she has master's degrees from Vanderbilt in their divinity school.
Okay.
And I was thinking a lot about that idea, and quote unquote religion doesn't really show up in this book at all. But the more I was thinking about that connection to divinity, the whole point of this book is kind of once you have, mutated into this other thing, you're not kind of alive as you were before. So as I started thinking about that, I was like, this is kind of an afterlife conversation.
Right.
So I don't know if as Emily's listening to this, she might be like, that had nothing to do with why I wrote this. That could be. But I just kept thinking with her, with a connection to divinity, how
Mhm.
much does that play into, when he turns into a shark, ostensibly for Ren, he's dead,
Right.
you know? But he has this whole other life that happens.
Mhm. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Right?
Can they communicate at all? Does he, like, ever swim to where he knows she is, or
That's such a good question. So
they
she has this scheme at one
Mhm.
part. So they are, gosh, where are they earlier in the book? Oh, I can't remember. Denver?
Mm.
I think they're in Denver. No, not Denver. They're in Dallas.
Dallas.
They're in Dallas. And she has this idea that she is going to learn how to scuba dive and she's just going to swim around with him forever, for the rest of her life as a shark with him,
Okay.
which is lovely and beautiful
Yeah.
that she has this idea. She does not take a class. She does not get certified. She does not do anything that actually would help her learn how to dive.
Yeah.
But she buys a bunch of equipment. This
Okay.
very much feels like a thing that I would do.
Uh-huh.
So she has to drive him to release him. She drives him out to California. So they make this big epic trip out to California, and she releases him, and she walks into the water with him in her scuba suit. And then she had only practiced in like lakes and has never had formal training, and she
Okay.
couldn't handle it. And Lewis was like, "You have to let me go."
Oh.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, she really tried, and they came up with all these plans of how they could still communicate and ways that if he lost his memory, she could do things to remind him.
Yeah.
And at some point he's, I love you. I have to let you go.
Oh.
And that has to be like completely. I
Yeah,
know.
I'm tearing up again.
I know.
Not
It is
hard.
sad.
Yeah.
It's really sad. But don't you love the fact that she walked in
Yeah.
her full like scuba gear and was like, "It's cool, you're a shark. Don't worry about it. I'll just swim around with you all day."
know.
She had these like images of hanging on to his dorsal fin or whatever it's called, just like swimming really fast.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Aw.
That did not work out. Spoiler,
Yeah.
that did not work out for them.
Okay. I was just curious if they could communicate after that. All right, so
I do think you get the vibe that maybe some animals that could happen.
Okay.
I will say this was something that I thought was interesting. No mutation that we see in the book has a potential positive or a potential willingness, right? Nobody turns into a dog that could just hang out on your couch
Right.
and you could love forever. No, maybe that happens in the book, or in sort of the world of this, but no one we see changes into an animal that you could continue to have a relationship
cat
with.
or something like
Yeah, they're either really aggressive,
Okay.
or they need to be in a different geographic location, or
Yeah.
But once they are an animal, they still continue to have those thoughts. So it's really interesting because when Lewis turns into a shark, he has all these shark thoughts,
Mhm.
right? Like he thinks about what he needs to eat and
Mhm.
what he needs to do instinctually as a shark.
Mhm.
But he also still talks about Ren all the time. And
Yeah.
so the other younger girl shark,
Mhm.
who was a human that I told you about, her name's Margaret C. Finnegan.
Ooh.
And they have this whole conversation where she at one point repeats back to him so many things that she knows about these like intimate quirks and details about her that she says, "I know so much about Ren now that I miss her too."
Mm.
And I don't know. I think it's cool that he still maintains that even when he becomes a shark. Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
beautiful.
I know. I know. It's so lovely.
Yeah. I wanted to, so before you have your notes, is there anything else that we did not get to that you wanted to make sure we covered for the listener to really know about Shark Heart?
That's a good question.
It's my catch-all question in
I know.
case like I miss, because sometimes I've wrapped up in the past.
And they're like, "Oh, wait, I wanted to say that."
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think I would just say that at the heart of this is this incredible love story. I mean, that's in the title. It's Shark Heart, a love story.
Yeah.
And people should not read that and think this is like a romance book. It is not. But it is this incredible love story.
Yeah.
That has grief, but it also has incredible joy. And so I think for me, anybody who can sit in the dichotomy of that would really love this book.
Yeah.
It also, I don't want to get into the spoilers, but the connection to parenthood, and I would say motherhood more specifically, is really, really big throughout the book. The connection between Ren and her mom and some other things that happen. And I think, in a full circle, we talked about when I read this, what attracted me So when I read this in 2023, I was a still fairly new mom. I had a 3-year-old.
Mm.
And it's funny because I reread this kind of thinking about this podcast, and there was things that have struck me differently now, 3 years later being a mom.
Yeah.
And I think it is this just beautiful journey of how you love other people despite things. And it's such a lovely, lovely book.
Yeah.
I want people to read it. Don't be scared by the premise. It's
No.
so good.
No, well, okay, so who's the ideal reader? Who would you recommend it to?
I think at the heart of it, it's anyone who loves beautifully written prose. And I think especially someone who, it's funny because in her acknowledgments, she talks about that she is not a mom yet, but that she is talking about parenthood so much because she had the best parents. And so I think you could either be on the side where you're a parent yourself, or you have feelings about your own parents and your childhood. There's so much about that relationship that's in here, and how that forms who you are as a person, how that forms how you love, how that forms things you don't want to do sometimes too. And I don't know, I think that really impacted me, being a mom in that moment and figuring out what you want to do like your own parents, what you want to do differently, how you want to create just the absolute best for your kids, and how you love them in this absolutely all-consuming way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all the love in this. I mean, it's the love between Ren and Lewis is like that, the love across parents to kids in some cases. Some of the lineages in this not so much, but some of them really speak to that. And I think anyone who is here for a book like that would love it.
Okay, well, that is perfect. Love to sell it. Great job. Okay, and I cannot believe. All right,
we've gone this long without talking about our drink.
We didn't talk about this. This is absolutely incredible. Thank goodness we got it on video. So we will
share it. It's so good.
We will share it. Okay, so it's called the Metamorphosis Cocktail. Kudos to you. I do not know how you found this. I had never heard of it.
Deep dive. I went on a deep dive.
Okay. So, all right, walk us through the ingredients.
Ooh.
Do you want me to walk us through?
Yeah, you mixed it up for us. I just shot you the idea. You made it happen deliciously.
Yes. Okay. So it's gin and lemon and simple syrup essentially, which is pretty, I think, like a
basic, easy
gin gimlet, or something like that. But then you add, it's called butterfly tea.
Yeah.
Which is a very dark blue tea. And I will tell you, I did 2 bags thinking like, oh, this isn't going to be blue enough. And it was like intense.
Did you try the tea itself before you mixed it?
I didn't try it.
I'm curious what it would taste like as just tea.
Okay. Yeah.
Like it looked bitter, I guess. I don't know.
Super blue.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like dark blue. Almost like a navy. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, then you put the gin and the butterfly tea in together.
Okay.
And then you pour in the lemon juice.
And what does it do?
It turns it like a magenta.
Oh my gosh, a metamorphosis.
It's a metamorphosis. That was a lot of fun. I think this might be one of my new favorites.
It's cool. Well, and you zhuzhed it up a little because you added like a sprinkle.
Edible glitter.
Edible glitter. So not only did we drink, it was purple, it was glittery.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like any.
But like a smooth, it wasn't too sweet. It was nice.
It was very good. And yeah, I highly recommend if you want to impress your dinner guests.
Very impressive.
The Metamorphosis. Yes. So anyway, thank you. I absolutely loved it. Yeah. So
delicious.
we'll include, you're going to shoot me the video and we'll include that
Definitely.
for
sure.
Oh, people have to see.
They got to see what happened.
All right. So now I want to take some time and put a spotlight on wherever you want to point it.
All right. Amazing. Well, I was excited to share. So outside of reading, some other things I do. So I am proud to be the executive director of Communities and Schools of Chesterfield.
Yay!
We're a nonprofit in Chesterfield County, and we serve in 16 high-need schools across the community. And the role that our site coordinators who are in our schools full-time play is to really understand the kids there, understand where their strengths lie, where challenges exist, and really address any of the barriers they have to being successful in school. Yeah. So we know that it is usually not the actual content of what's happening in class that keeps kids from going on to be successful and graduating and all that. It's so many other things that are happening at home, social emotional things that are going on, basic needs aren't met, mental health needs are present. And so our site coordinators really work to address all those. And we've gotten to know each other a little bit. I'm a big fan of libraries. Are a big partner of ours in this work. Part of the name, Communities in Schools, is that we bring community into school.
Mm-hmm.
So whether that's, local faith community, individuals, companies, anyone who really wants to play a role in school, sometimes they don't always know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so our site coordinators can really help connect to volunteer opportunities, to ways to donate, and bring in kind opportunities, skill sets that the community has that we want to make sure kids have. So Communities in Schools is an incredible organization. I definitely recommend people checking it out. But more importantly, and for all listeners, this is going to be exciting because Gigi's going to be a part of it.
Yay!
We have a really fun fundraising event coming up May 2nd. It is our inaugural Adult Spelling Bee Extravaganza. And it's going to be a super fun night. We wanted to take sort of a twist on the traditional school spelling bee, right? And it's funny because as I talk to people about this, you can immediately see them start to panic and be like, the word I went out on in 5th grade was, there's like there's some like trauma sitting in a lot of people's bodies about spelling bees.
Yeah.
But we're kind of trying to take a twist on that. So it's going to be a super fun night. We're going to have fun beverages. I don't know if we will be cool enough to come up with a Metamorphosis, but there might be a bee's knees and things like that.
Yeah.
Great food and drink. We're going to be having a super fun night. There's kind of 2 parts of the spelling portion. One is going to be kind of bar trivia style. So if people are into spelling, they can do it kind of in a group in a fun, low-key way. We're also having a celebrity round, which you are one of our celebrities, which is going to be funny. We're going to have a good time with that. We've got some fun surprises of people who are going to be showing up. And then we also are really leaning into the bee theme. So throughout the night, we're going to have a honey tasting from a local beekeeper. We're going to have a caricature artist doing some cool stuff. The location is the Wrexham House, and they have this beautiful backspace that we're going to really be utilizing as kind of a garden out back. It's going to be a really fun event, and all of it is going to support the students, the 15,000 students that we support, and continuing to expand to serve more kids. So very, very fun night.
Yes, I can't wait. And
it's going to be fun.
It is going to be fun, and I'll make sure we have links to tickets in the show notes. Yep. So if you're listening to this and you want to hang out with me and Ashley,
it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. And if you want to hear me go out on the first round spelling, this is your
We'll throw some easy ones your way first. Maybe I'll choose Metamorphosis just as like an inside joke. Right?
Perfect.
So study up.
I will.
Hint.
Okay. Yeah. So very fun. Well, I am so excited to have made this connection and to have had you on the show. This is incredible.
Thank you.
You are like literally, for the listener, if you're getting the vibe, Ashley is like literally sunshine walking.
I'm just very excited. Yeah. I do a lot, in my job. I'm really privileged to do a lot of radio and TV spots and talk about my work, which I love. Yeah. But getting the opportunity to talk about a book over beverages, which are my basically 2 favorite things outside of work and my family. If we were doing this in another country so we could add travel to it, it would hit my 3 most favorite things. So if you decide you want to do a taping in another country, call me. Okay. I'm ready. I will read anything.
Yeah. We're not limiting ourselves. Drinks in the Library can go international.
Yes, there's libraries everywhere.
Thank you so much. This has been a delight for real.
Thank you. Yeah. So fun for me too.
Yay. Okay.
Thank you for spending some time with me and my guest for an episode of Drinks in the Library. For more information about the show, you can find us on Instagram at Drinks in the Library, on the World Wide Web, drinksinthelibrary.com, or shoot me an email at drinkspod@gmail.com. Until next time, cheers.